Verb tenses review. This video will review all of the verb tenses you have studied in this course. Let's start with the present time. We can use the present simple to talk about habits, facts, and routines. For example, Henry sings every day. These guys sing every Friday. Notice there is an S for Henry because the subject is he. If the subject is he, she, or it for the present simple, you need an S. Use these words to talk about routines and habits. These are called adverbs of frequency, and we often use them with the present simple. Here is how to form the present simple. You can take a longer look at this by looking at the document. Another tense we use to talk about the present is the present progressive. We use the present progressive to talk about what is happening right now. For example, Sam is pouring milk into his coffee right now. This is how we form the present progressive. We need the present form of the verb be and the main verb in its ing form. Let's talk about the past now. We can use the past simple to talk about a situation in the past, whose beginning and ending are clear to see. For example, the students graduated last Saturday. Use these words when you talk about past situations. Remember, there are many irregular verbs in the past simple, so be sure to study those irregular forms. But for all regular verbs in the past simple, we simply add an ed to the end of the verb. To talk about a situation in progress in the past, we use the past progressive. For example, the boys were watching videos around 5 o'clock yesterday. When we use the past progressive, it's kind of like we are zooming in on the action in the past. We don't know when it started, and we don't know when it finished. We just know it was in the middle at a certain time in the past. To form the past progressive, we need the past forms of the verb be and the main form of the verb with ing. Another way we can talk about the past is with the past perfect. I like to talk about using the past perfect as a way of talking about the past before the past. For example, the store had already closed by the time I arrived. First it closed, then I arrived. Use these words when you use the past perfect in complex sentences. To form the past perfect, you need had for every subject and a past participle. Review past participles because some of them are irregular. We can also make the past perfect progressive by using had, been, and a verb plus ing. Sometimes we want to talk about the past, but not mention a specific time. In this case, we can use the present perfect. We use the present perfect in a couple of different ways, but one way is to talk about a past experience without mentioning a specific time. For example, Judy has taken photographs all over the world. We don't know when, and it doesn't matter. It's about her experience. When we use the present perfect to talk about past experiences, we often use these words. To form the present perfect, we use have with subjects I, you, we, and they, and a past participle. With subjects he, she, and it, we use has and the past participle. To talk about a situation that started in the past and continues now, we can also use the present perfect. For example, Peter has been a chef for many years. When we use the present perfect to talk about a situation that started in the past and continues now, it is usually with verbs that are verbs of state, non-action verbs, like be, as you see here. But for all action verbs, we want to use the present perfect progressive when we talk about situations that started in the past and continue now. For example, Peter has been working since 9 o'clock. When we use the present perfect progressive, we often use these words: for and a length of time, and since plus a specific past time. To form the present perfect progressive, we need have or has, been, and a verb plus ing. All right, let's move on to the future. There are many different ways to talk about the future. Let's start with a future plan. Cindy is going to take a bus into town today. She already bought her ticket 2 weeks ago, so it's a plan. Here is how we form this tense. We need different forms of the verb be plus going to and the main verb. We can also use be going to talk about a future prediction. But we can also use will to talk about a future prediction. For example, Chase will enjoy his day today. I think it's going to happen. We use will with every subject and the base form of the verb. Sometimes we're not 100% certain about the future. In this case, we can use may or might to make a guess. For example, Ben may ask his girlfriend to marry him. He's not sure though. He doesn't want to be rejected. When we use might or may, they're the same with every subject. They don't change, just like will. After might and may, we use the base form of the verb. When we talk about the future, we can use these types of time words. And that concludes all of the verb tenses that you have studied in this course. Take a look at these sentences. Can you identify the verb tense in each sentence? First, you have to identify the verb. Think about the reason that we use a different verb tense in each of these sentences. Think about the different ways that you say these things in your own language. Take the time to study the document version of this video on your own. Thank you for listening.